Say it with me. Windows is the problem with Windows handhelds. The Verge, their article is talking about the Xbox ROG Ally. They also have a few review pieces in terms of this particular device, and it's behind a paywall. And the comments are actually very interesting at the end of the day. So there's all of this talk about Windows right now. And in my own opinion, it's very important that we go ahead and assess what in the world is being talked about. If you've been following PC gaming, you know that Windows is very interesting. It's quite notorious. 1 minute, this is happening. Next minute, that's happening. But at the end of the day, you do have what I think is the most flexible operating system that's out there. You can roll back your updates. You can maintain a specific build and use that build as long as you want. There are just so many things that you can pretty much enjoy with Windows as a whole. I'm of the mind that a lot of the criticisms that you're going to see right now regarding Windows is going to, in a sense, shock you. And this article already does not disappoint in some of the things that it lays out. The author of the article, Hollister, highlights a few points. They said it's been nearly 2 weeks since Microsoft, a multi-trillion-dollar company, shipped a $600 handheld Xbox that can be relied on to sleep, wake, or hold a charge while asleep in my tests. Now, I have to tell you, this is great news because he attributes this device to Microsoft and Xbox. So when it comes to the L's, Xbox and Microsoft, you have to take those L's. Had this device come out smoking and there were no issues at all, like the Xbox Xbox ROG Ally X, they will be calling it an Asus device at any point in time. Now, I don't know about Sean Hollister's leanings, but it's just very funny to see here. It says neither Microsoft nor Asus would admit there's a problem with the white Xbox Ally or offer a timeline to fix it after repeated requests by The Verge. It's very interesting, though, because he then comes down here to say that he did get a statement from one of the folk there that said something along the lines of, what was it that he said? This person came out and said, while we're seeing some issues that are isolated to some people, but making Windows, there it is. Windows and Xbox teams are aware of the challenges a limited number of players have experienced and are actively working to refine sleep and wake reliability. So they haven't given a timeline. They're working on it. And if you've used Windows before, oh boy, you know how it goes. It says we've identified a small set of issues and initial fixes that will be rolling out soon. Optimizing Windows, the most flexible operating system in the world for a range of devices and screen sizes across PCs and cloud, is an ongoing journey as we work with our partners to provide a great experience on gaming handhelds. Community feedback plays an important role in shaping these improvements for all players. Now, that's very interesting that they actually did give a reply, but in this missive, he talks about Bazzite and how Bazzite is better and all of the above, and talks about how, Linux gaming is the way to go and all that. But here's actually what really makes this whole thing quite funny. At the end of the day, all I see is, with all of the downsides of Windows, you continue to complement the PC ecosystem because you can actually take matters into your own hands. Do you see this? He claims, I won't get into all the details because I don't want to sound like a broken record, because last December I already wrote how Bazzite turned the previous ROG Ally X, not to be confused with the Xbox Ally X, into the best handheld of 2024. And once again, I'll admit I see no battery advantage of Bazzite over Windows. Occasionally I see Bazzite. It says, but it's such a repudiation of Windows that Microsoft's first Xbox handheld, the one with a version of Windows that was supposed to reduce the bloat and fix performance and sleep mods, built by a multi-trillion-dollar company, is so effortlessly beaten by the efforts of a few Linux programmers standing atop the shoulders of roughly 300-person Valve and the broader Linux community, which is basically years and years of Linux. But here's the problem. Or I guess I'll say here's the compliments to having a PC or a device that is not locked. And that is that you can actually take matters into your own hands. So the hardware that you choose to use and the operating system that you choose to use is all up to you. So at the end of the day, when all the conversation and all the pieces start to come out and everybody's talking about this and talking about that, one thing you got to realize is that these handheld console PCs give you that flexibility. So if you choose that you want to just rock with Steam or you want to use Windows, It's all up to you at the end of the day. For me, I rock Windows because it's multifaceted. Like I can game, I can do other productivity tasks. I'm sitting right here making this video with you. Just got done playing some FIFA on my ROG Xbox Ally X, and it was a fun session, right? But that form factor is not going to be the best to, do all the work I want to do, unless, of course, I dock it and I start, I install OBS and I start doing all that stuff. That's the fun stuff that Windows brings that cannot be dismissed easily. If you want to game and you say, I want to use this, PC hardware to game, you can lock down the access and limit all of it to just gaming alone. That's what makes PC the best place to play. So I'm very surprised that now everybody wants to start piling on Windows in this context when we already have had options to be able to do whatever you want with your hardware. This is not new. I have a very good buddy of mine. He and we talk a lot about, the devices that we prefer to use and all that stuff, PC nerds and all that, and he likes Linux a lot. He swears by it. Right? He's like, oh, I got to do a Linux build for this and Linux build for that and all the above. I'm not of the mind that I can benefit much more than, say, some very specific tasks from Linux. I've not spent time exploring too much other than, say, getting a server going and trying to access a repo and store files in it. I haven't really done much past that. And so that's exactly what I'm looking at in terms of this whole conversation, and something that I'm very curious about as to how people think that you can replace a multifaceted operating system with an individual use case set of tools. It's not going to be that easy. If Linux was all that, as people make it to be, why are more and more, companies not just leveraging Linux in those use cases? Rather, when you see Linux in use, it has a very specific use case that they're using it for, from what I've actually seen. For instance, a lot of the, server DevOps and all that stuff will have Linux applications that are actually that they're using to implement those things, right? But then at the end of the day, when you actually go to the end user, majority of the end users, people who are actually just working in the business or doing other tasks, are going to be doing Windows-based, they're going to be running a lot of the business on Windows-based solutions. So again, the Windows-based solutions can do everything from basically sell you groceries, help your doctor and your nurse, to play a video game. Nobody's really leveraging a lot of Linux for that front-end use. So all this talk about Windows being bad for gaming and the debloat and the bloat, my dude, all of what the operating system has basically, been entrenched in for over those years has not only been relegated to gaming. And this is why when Satya Nadella said, we built a console to actually build a better PC for gaming, because consoles are PCs. You're just saying nonsense. I'm going to play that clip and make a video about it because it's really going to unveil and unmask a lot of these people that have been hiding behind a limited access PC to think it's like some kind of a better thing. No, it's just a lockdown access. You can do it with any device. Literally, you can go in and just turn a device into a BASITE-based device and then just say it's only going to game. And that's definitely going to be what you're using it for. But at the end of the day, if at some point you choose that you're limited and you don't want that, then you switch up. And this all ties into the benefits of a PC that the console will never have. Somebody would always tell you what to use, and someone will always tell you how to move. But on PC, this individual that went ahead and did this has pretty much gone ahead to make the case that you definitely need PC hardware if you really want to game, take matters into your hand, and actually have control as to how you relate to your own gaming, and entertainment. So this is a very cool thing at the end of the day. And, maybe I'll install BASITE, but I haven't paid attention to doing that. Does the Xbox app work on it? I don't know if it does. I mean, if it does, great, but I'm not interested in actually worrying about that. I have a Game Pass subscription. I know Steam works on Windows, and Steam has made tons and tons of money on Windows, even with all of its flaws and faults, by the way. I also know that Ubisoft Connect works on Windows, and some people have said you can side load all of that. Even in this article, he talks about it. But why would I want to start trying to side load stuff when I already use a device that can do everything that I want it to do? Why would I want to go limit myself because of one specific use case, which is gaming? How important is gaming to everybody that's using a Windows device? If it's a dedicated gaming PC, I can understand. But most PC gamers don't necessarily game like that. I can already tell you, they're alt tabbers. All you alt tabbers, you know what I'm talking about. I'll leave you to think and chew on this. Talk to me in the comment section. I appreciate your time and audience. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.